Minus 40 degrees Celsius, winds that'll freeze your face solid in minutes, darkness for 4 months straight. For most of us, spending 5 minutes outside in these conditions would be a survival nightmare. But for the Inuit people of the Arctic, this was home sweet home. These remarkable people didn't just survive in one of Earth's most hostile environments, they built a thriving civilization in a place where most modern humans would die within hours. Hey, I'm Michael, and welcome to Hoodie History, where I explore all kinds of fascinating stories and cultures from the past. It's great to have you here. Today, I'm venturing into the frozen heart of the Arctic to discover how the Inuit became history's ultimate survivors, turning an ice-covered wasteland into a homeland with ingenious technology, deep environmental knowledge, and survival skills that would make Bear Grylls look like he's on a casual camping trip. While people in temperate climates were complaining about a bit of frost on their windows, Arctic peoples were casually building houses out of snow, hunting whales with handmade weapons, and navigating across endless ice sheets using nothing but their understanding of wind patterns and snowdrift shapes. It's like comparing someone who needs central heating to stay comfortable to someone who can build a warm shelter from frozen water. Not exactly in the same league. The story of human mastery in the Arctic begins over 4,000 years ago with the arrival of the early Paleo-Eskimo peoples. Building on thousands of years of Arctic experience, the direct ancestors of today's Inuit, known as the Thule people, brought a new wave of ingenious adaptations as they spread across the Arctic, starting around 1,000 years ago. Over centuries, they would master an environment so extreme that it covers the top of our planet like a frozen crown, developing technologies and survival strategies that modern science is only just beginning to fully appreciate. These weren't desperate people barely clinging to life in a harsh wasteland. Archaeological evidence shows the Inuit developed sophisticated trade networks, complex social structures, rich artistic traditions, and technologies so perfectly adapted to their environment that many are still considered superior to modern alternatives. This wasn't just survival, this was mastery of the impossible. At the heart of Inuit survival was their incredible understanding of ice and snow. Where most of us see a white, cold mess, Inuit peoples could identify dozens of different types of snow and ice conditions, each with specific properties and uses. They had distinct words for wind-packed snow, perfect for igloo construction, granular snow that provided excellent insulation, and ice conditions that determined whether it was safe to travel or hunt. The igloo itself represents one of humanity's most brilliant architectural achievements. Using nothing but blocks of wind-packed snow and a bone knife, an experienced builder could construct a weatherproof dome in under 2 hours that would maintain a comfortable interior temperature of 15 degrees Celsius, while the outside temperature plummeted to minus 40. The engineering is genius. The dome shape distributes weight evenly, the spiral construction technique creates a self-supporting structure, and the snow blocks actually get stronger as body heat slightly melts and refreezes the inner surface, creating an ice shell. Modern engineers study igloo construction because the thermal efficiency rivals contemporary insulation technology. And you thought assembling IKEA furniture was impressive? Try building a house that's warmer than most apartments using only frozen water and a bone tool. For transportation across this frozen landscape, the Inuit created the kayak, a vessel so perfectly designed that its basic form hasn't changed in 4,000 years. Talk about design efficiency that's lasted that long. These weren't crude boats, but precision instruments, with each kayak custom built to fit its owner's exact body measurements and paddling style. The frame was constructed from carefully selected driftwood or whale bones, lashed together with sinew and covered with waterproof sealskin. The result was a vessel that weighed less than 30 kilograms, but could handle Arctic storms that would sink much larger boats. What's most impressive is that these kayaks were so seaworthy that Inuit hunters would pursue whales in the open ocean. Imagine chasing a bus-sized animal in a boat that weighs less than a person in waters cold enough to kill you in minutes if you capsized. That takes a lot of confidence in your technology. Clothing in the Arctic wasn't just about staying warm, it was about staying alive. Inuit garments represented thousands of years of refinement, creating layered systems that modern outdoor gear companies still study and attempt to replicate. The basic system used two layers, an inner garment worn with fur against the skin, and an outer layer with fur facing outward. This created an insulation system with tiny air pockets that trapped body heat while allowing moisture to escape, preventing the deadly combination of dampness and cold that kills most hypothermia victims. Women would spend weeks preparing a single parka, carefully selecting pelts, chewing leather to the perfect softness, and sewing with sinew using stitches so tight they were waterproof. The finished garment could keep a person comfortable in freezing conditions. Some of these parkas weighed less than a modern down jacket. For hunting, the Inuit developed a range of weapons and techniques. The Inuit harpoon wasn't just a spear, it was a sophisticated system with detachable heads, inflatable floats made from seal bladders, and retrieval lines that could handle a struggling whale. Seal hunting required reading ice conditions, understanding seal behavior, and waiting motionless for hours at breathing holes in temperatures that would cause frostbite in minutes. Perhaps most remarkably, Inuit hunters could track polar bears, animals that can smell a seal from 20 kilometers away, and whose paws are the size of dinner plates. When I can barely track down my own car keys in a well-lit house, these hunters were tracking polar bears across a landscape that looks identical in every direction. Navigation across the featureless Arctic landscape required skills that are almost supernatural. Inuit travelers could navigate hundreds of kilometers across sea ice using wind patterns, snow formations, and star positions with an accuracy that amazed early European explorers. They read sastrugi, wind-carved ridges in the snow, like road signs, knowing that certain formations indicated prevailing wind directions and landmarks. They could predict weather changes days in advance by observing cloud formations, wind shifts, and animal behavior. Even more remarkably, they developed mental maps of territories covering thousands of square kilometers, passing this geographical knowledge down through oral traditions, songs, and stories. Maybe the most impressive aspect of Inuit culture was their social technology, the ways they organized their communities to thrive in an environment where cooperation meant the difference between life and death. During harsh winter months, multiple families would share large snow houses, pooling resources and sharing warmth. They developed sophisticated systems for sharing hunting success, ensuring that successful hunters provided for the entire community. They created complex gift-giving networks that extended across hundreds of kilometers, establishing relationships that provided support during difficult times and access to resources from different regions. These social connections were as crucial for survival as any physical tool. I don't think you can survive the Arctic alone, no matter how skilled you are. This incredible adaptation to one of Earth's most challenging environments nearly disappeared during the 20th century. Government policies forced many Inuit communities to abandon traditional lifestyles, and modern technology replaced many traditional practices. By the 1970s, many traditional techniques were in danger of being lost forever. But just as with other cultural revivals like Polynesian navigation, there's been a remarkable revival with Inuit culture. Inuit communities across the Arctic have launched programs to preserve and teach traditional skills. This revival isn't just about preserving culture, it's about survival. Climate change is altering Arctic ice conditions faster than anywhere else on Earth, and traditional knowledge about ice safety and weather patterns is proving invaluable for adapting to rapidly changing conditions. The Inuit mastery of the Arctic challenges our assumptions about technology and progress. We tend to think of advancement as creating more complex tools and systems, but Inuit technology achieved maximum effectiveness with minimum complexity. Their solutions were elegant, sustainable, and perfectly integrated with the environment rather than fighting against it. Modern Arctic researchers still use traditional Inuit techniques because in many cases, they remain the most effective methods available. When NASA was developing spacesuits, they studied traditional Inuit clothing construction. The Inuit didn't conquer the Arctic by defeating it, they succeeded by understanding it so deeply that they became part of its ecosystem. There's something profound about a culture that could make one of Earth's most hostile environments feel like home. The story of the Inuit reminds us that human ingenuity isn't just about creating new technologies. Sometimes it's about developing such a deep understanding of our environment that survival becomes not just possible, but sustainable for thousands of years. In a world facing rapid environmental change, maybe there's some wisdom in learning from people who made thriving in extreme conditions look effortless. Their legacy proves that with enough knowledge, skill, and cooperation, humans can not only survive but flourish anywhere on Earth, even in places where the very air tries to kill you. That's not just impressive, that's pretty inspiring. What amazes you most about the Inuit and their survival techniques? And what other seemingly impossible human achievements would you like to explore in future episodes? Let me know in the comments. If you found this journey to the Arctic fascinating, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss more incredible stories of human ingenuity here on Hoodie History. And if you're interested in shorter stories from history, I publish content frequently on my other channel, Hoodie History Shorts. You can check it out now to discover all kinds of punchy stories from history. There's a link here and in the video description. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep these survival tips from the Inuit handy if you ever find yourself caught in icy conditions.